What's up, everybody, and welcome to Inside Brooklyn, hosted right here in the Brooklyn Commons. I am your host, Jamie Bowles, the owner of WJMS Radio, joined by my beautiful co-host, Kristen Nye. And I want to shout out Trendy Tripping, who is the sponsor of this podcast, as well as the Brooklyn Commons, of course, for providing us with this beautiful venue to broadcast out of. We have a great show for you guys today. Inside Brooklyn is a podcast that is dedicated to entrepreneurs, business owners, organizations, and folks that are making a big difference in the community around them, or who have made change in the community around them for one reason or another, and their stories, their ups, their downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we are here today with Jeff Lindor, who is the owner and founder of the Gentleman's Factory right here in the Brooklyn Commons, which is a social co-working space for helping to enhance the lives of men of color, which I think is absolutely amazing. I've actually been up there before, and it's super, like, you wouldn't know that was like it, you know what I mean? Like, you walk up there and you're like, oh wow, like,
it's a different world.
Yeah. You know, like, you walk up to, it's like to the rooftop space area, and it's like the highest floor in the Brooklyn Commons, and it's just a really cool, sort of awesome co-working space that you have set up there. So what made you start the Gentleman's Factory, and when did you start it?
Well, again, thank you so much for having me here today. Started about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And really, I was just on a mission to just really develop innovative solutions that enhances the lives of people of color all across the world. And so when I resigned from my career in government and in corporate America, I just knew that I wanted to change the world essentially, right? So it's a really powerful movement that we've started, and I'm really happy about the future that we're building.
Yeah, you guys have been featured in several news publications and all kinds of different areas for just expanding your brand and stuff like that. So, what is the background on the Gentleman's Factory? Like, what are you guys doing in there? What is the movement all about, if you will?
Well, so Black and brown men grow in isolation, and what I realized was that there wasn't enough spaces that spoke to the unique experiences of this segment of the population. Particularly when you are in the middle class and beyond. It's like, where do you go? Because your immediate community may look at you as though you're the most accomplished person that's around them. But then as you excel in your career, or even in your finances, you realize that you're in a lot of rooms where there's not a lot of you there, right? So it may get a little bit uncomfortable and a little lonely, right? So then I said, where do we go to talk about our community issues, and also to further enhance this and build this? So there are some really great organizations that does just that, but there aren't enough physical spaces that we go to build and connect. So that's what the Gentleman's Factory stemmed from.
Okay, excellent. And how many, members, if you will, how many members are there, or why don't you give us sort of a breakdown of who's helping you run this, and how many people do you have on this team with you?
Oh man, we have over 100 members, and what's really interesting too is that the membership stands from men in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and even early 70s, right? So it's intergenerational.
Early 70s?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They climbing them steps?
Yes, absolutely.
It's the workout for the day, right?
Yes. So it's intergenerational, and then that's what really enriches the brand too, is the fact that every time that you go upstairs, you never know who you'll meet, right?
And that's true community. It's not just one age, one sector. It's
totally
multi-generational.
Absolutely. And then also, many of our members are from different parts of the world, so we have many members that are from parts of the Caribbean, from Africa, from grew up in Brooklyn, but then some grew up in LA and Alabama, etc. So so that's really interesting, because the conversations that stems out of that is so rich. Then we have so many different types of events, in series called Spark Innovation is one of them. Innovation is sparked when you're around individuals who may not necessarily think like you, but when you're speaking to them and when you're building with them, you're learning their world too. So Gentleman's Factory is a really powerful movement.
I was going to ask you what kind of events and things you guys host. I feel like you've been on this show before in different capacities. I feel like the last time we spoke, did you say something about there was a program to help men learn how to tie ties?
Yeah, I mean, so,
Yeah.
definitely, so we do a lot of youth development work.
Yeah.
Where we go into the schools and we teach young men how to not only tie ties, but how to navigate, participate, and succeed in today's world, right? So it's forever evolving, and our young people really need to be equipped with that, and also and our members and myself in that also needs to be equipped with navigating today's world. So lots of the program that we do is really it's really comprehensive, right? So we focus on business development, but then also mental health and wellness and relationship management, you know what I mean? So
it's really holistic support
it's
for this community.
Holistic, absolutely. So what we do, and you mentioned team, we have a fantastic team of staff and also advisors where we're always listening to what members' needs are, right? So there's lots of surveys, there's focus groups, there's interviews, etc., so that I can get a better sense of how do I continue to provide value to this segment of the population that's been neglected historically, right? So I don't ever want to say, oh, you know what, I know everything that Black and brown men need. No, absolutely not. I'm like into self-discovery myself as a Black man, but then also I want to know what the needs of the community that we're fostering needs as well, because we're not a monolith. We're so diverse, and in that I really want to keep my ears open to understanding, how do I continue to add value to this segment of the population?
Yeah, I asked that question because I remember the last time I spoke to you, I was moved by that because by and large, in the Black community, sometimes you find a lot of absentee fathers and absentee male role models for young Black boys. And when it comes down to it, they're growing up, they're getting bigger, mom's not always around because she's working several jobs trying to make ends meet because it's maybe a single parent household. And it comes time for a job interview, comes time for a formal, comes time for them to just be presentable for something. And they're in the house trying to tie a tie and they can't do it because they didn't have that male figure in the household to show them how to do it. And so I remember you telling me, about some of those programs that you had for the youth and just being very moved because it's something that is needed in the community and you're filling a void, a void that for a lot of people is a hard talking point. So I think that what the Gentleman's Factory is doing is sorely needed, and I'm glad to see that you guys are, from the last time I talked to you, that you guys have moved forward so much and you've seen so many publications come to you to share your brand with the world and further. So I'm happy to hear about that.
No, thank you.
And it seems like you've grown, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a end of summer event, and there were how many gentlemen there? Several hundred, right?
Over 700.
Wow.
Yeah.
Black and brown men in this community coming together to support themselves.
Absolutely, and then that just comes to show you just the need for spaces like this, right? Safe spaces at that too, right? Because, so we had a mixer in June at Brooklyn Commons. Shout out to Brooklyn Commons again, so at that mixer, we had about like 400, and then with the end of summer, it was 700. And also, we're looking to open up more locations throughout the city, throughout the country, throughout the world, so I just came back from London, about like 2 months ago, so I spent, close to a month out there just really understanding what the Black and brown experience is, internationally, because, and then what I found too was just the isolation issue, right? I'm speaking with, Black men specifically out there, they're saying, I always feel as though I'm alone. Right? So it's really important that, spaces like the Gentleman's Factory continues to grow so that, men can continue to build with each other.
So are you looking to expand to London? Is that what I'm reading between the lines here? Is that what I'm looking at?
Perhaps,
some international umbrellas out there?
Yeah, perhaps. And also too, so we actually have members at this current moment that are in Ghana. So there's a really great fintech conference out there. So, members were like, hey, I'm in tech, you're in tech. Hey, why don't we, go to Ghana for this fintech conference? And that was just a 10-minute conversation, members just got, approval from their wives, and they're like, hey, is it okay for me to go?
First things first.
Right, first things first, right? And then afterwards, they just booked the plane tickets and they have an Airbnb and they went, right? So it's a space of not only communicating, but it's where action is being had, right? So members, started businesses together, right? We had a pitch competition with Shark Tank recently, and then Shark Tank picked one of our members.
I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah, right. And then they pitched to the sharks in California, right?
Wow.
So it's really a space where lots of great things are happening, and I'm really excited about the future. This is just the beginning for us.
Yeah. And Jeff, what would you say to the lone wolf, black, brown man out there that maybe is listening and it sounds great, but he's skeptical? What would you say to him? The guy on the other side that hasn't joined yet?
Yeah, well, I would be skeptical too, right? Because, it's like, wait, like we're coming together. What's the catch, right?
Yeah.
There's no catch, right? There was a guy, who came in and he was like, okay, so what's the process? Like, do you is it like a pledging process or anything like that?
It's a fraternity.
Yeah, right. No, it's not a fraternity. I mean, there are lots of members who are, Greek, etc. But it's not that deep, right? So it's really a space for us to build and to connect, And Gentleman's Factory isn't for everyone, right? You know what I mean? Like we interview every member who comes in so that we can tell them about who we are, and also so that we can get to know them as well, right? So it's really a space for the forward-thinking individual who's looking to move forward, right? So Gentleman's Factory is not solving everyone's problems, you know what I'm saying, right? But it's really an environment where it's a one-stop shop, right? So what we look for in members is, hey, like, where are you trying to go, right? Because that's really important for us, because if I'm a progressive thinker and I'm, looking to, advance, I need to sit next to someone who's also looking to advance as well, right?
Yeah.
And that's how the culture that we're building is really progressive, because everyone is moving forward, right? So,
like-minded.
Yeah, like-minded, and our main theme is forward.
Forward.
Yeah, forward,
Not
right?
backward.
Forward. Let's move forward, gentlemen. Let's move forward.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. One of my phrases is just keep taking steps forward, even if they're baby steps. Because even baby steps eventually add up to larger steps. And when you turn back and look at how far you've come, you'd be surprised.
Absolutely.
So I'm always a big fan of just forward motion and always, sometimes you have to take those lateral moves in order to move forward, but it's recognizing that this lateral move is to eventually advance you forward and not.
You're still creating momentum.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of people are even afraid to take that one little step, whatever that is.
Yeah.
You're doing it, like you said, it does have a cumulative effect.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, Jeff, what's coming up on the horizon for the Gentleman's Factory? What should we be looking out for?
So 2020 is going to be bananas, right? I'm super excited. So we're looking to open up more spaces in 2020.
In Ghana.
Maybe Ghana and London is in 2020. Right? But but that's in the 20s, right? But we're looking to have a larger stake in New York City, right? So we're super happy with where we are now, and then we're looking to be here for a really long time, and then we're looking to also be in different parts of New York City as well, right? Because there are it's a city with 10 million people, right? And there are millions of Black and brown men that feels isolated, right? So we're looking to really have more hubs and more Gentleman's Factories all across New York City, all across the United States of America, and all across planet Earth. Not all in 2020, but that's.
I was 2020 is going to be really
Well, I mean, if the right investor gives us $100 million to do so, then sure, why not, right?
Yes.
But we're.
And for all the people that believed in him.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, so I'm really excited about the future,
That's good. So are there any events or anything that you want to let folks know about? Anything coming up on the horizon you want folks to buy tickets for? Anything like that?
So we're looking to have this really big, end of the year, Christmas holiday party,
Okay.
So that's coming up, and then also we're looking to have a really nice black tie. Black History Month soiree, right?
That sounds good.
So I'm, speaking with the team about that, just to work on those logistics. But that's going to be insane.
That sounds great.
And because with the other events that we had, it was more of a mixer, and it was a rooftop. This one, black tie. Men and women come dressed up, with their nice, outfits and have a good time, So
Who doesn't like an excuse to dress up?
I know, absolutely.
Where can we find this information?
So it's not up yet. So this is actually breaking news, right?
Exclusive.
So this is
We
an
get the
exclusive. This
here.
is an exclusive. But I mean, definitely just check out our website and also our Instagram because we're constantly updating it with information, etc. So yeah,
And what's that? Is the handle just the Gentleman's Factory? or-
So the handle is at Gentleman's Factory _
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Great.
And our website is gentleman'sfactory.com.
Great.
Simple.
Yep.
Straight to the point.
Straight to the point.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Jeff, for being with us today. I'm really, really excited for the future for you. I'm happy to see the progression that you've made, the forwardness that you've had since the last time we spoke here on Inside Brooklyn. And I'm just appreciative of you taking the time today to share what you're doing and your mission with the listeners and the folks that are watching.
Oh, no, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys are absolutely fantastic. And any way that I can add value to the great work that you're doing, please let me know. And also for the members at the factory, they also, support. So please, let's continue to build.
Definitely. Well, folks, we'll be back again with another episode of Inside Brooklyn very, very soon. Make sure you keep it locked. Shout out to the folks behind the scenes that make the podcast possible. From WJMS Radio to Trendy Trip into Brooklyn Commons. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back next time. Until then, we'll see you from Inside Brooklyn.